Right. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bar. I am your host, Devin Grogans, and today I got a real one. Super excited to bring in. He is Ty Rogers and just started a company, uh, Be Him Board Shorts. You guys may have seen me post a few things on some collaborations. Very excited to have him on. I can't wait to hear the story because I'm telling you guys right now, these shorts are about to blow up. They have an amazing fit. They're coming out with a ton of different colors, different looks, and it's definitely for the guys that don't skip leg day. So if you got the skinny legs, go find somebody else because these are going to accentuate your legs. Um, Ty, welcome to the show.
Devin, appreciate you for having me on. Thanks for that intro. That was wonderful. Couldn't have done it better myself. But no, thanks for having me. Looking forward to getting into some of these great topics and kind of exploring some of the things behind the scenes about what we got going on here. So let's roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Beyond the Bar is really more so like I kind of talked to you a little bit about when we were off the air. You can go anywhere online and find gear information, training information, all that stuff. I want to find out like what bodybuilding means to you away from the scene. Like obviously it's part of our life. It's who we are. It's part of who we are. It's not necessarily all of who we are, but it intertwines. And so that's really what we want to talk about today. So why don't you fill us in? Like, obvious, you're a men's physique competitor. When did you start competing?
Wow. So I guess, I'll tell the story leading up to me competing,
Yeah.
just to kind of give some context there. So, my background, I've always done some type of athletics, whether it was growing up, it was baseball, basketball, football. And so the mindset of the athlete has always been there, just that competitive edge.
Hmm.
And then as I got older, of course, you start to see like all of the Flex magazines. And I lived in Dallas for a while. They would have a lot of bodybuilding conventions come through the city when I was a trainer with 24-hour fitness. And then I think at one point I just asked one of the bodybuilders, one of the open guys, like like how do you train to look like this? I'm like, I've been training my whole life. I lived, and he was just like, well, explain to me, like, what do you do when you come in here? And I was like, I'm here for an hour, and he was just like, he laughed at me, and he was just like, that's not enough. And he's like, well, what do you eat? And I told him, and he laughed again. And so we ended up talking a little bit later. But when he told me about his program and his calorie intake and he was tracking macros and all these different things, I was like, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. And so fast forward, I would say 5 or 6 years later, this was like right when COVID was in its
I was
peak.
just going to ask about what year was this?
Yeah, so this was around 2021. Um, I was I was still working out for the gyms that were open, but mentally and physically, I was in the worst shape of my life. I was probably about almost 250 pounds. Still like a husky guy, but just like not what I was used to. And my son, my 5-year-old son, he was about to be born. And mentally, I was like, you know what, if I don't do this for anybody else, what is my motivation? It's going to be him. I'm dedicating this to him. And
Mhm.
so I made a commitment at that point. Like when he comes here, I know he won't remember any of this, at least until he's like 2 or 3 years old. But this is not the version that I want him to see. I want him to see like my dad is like this awesome Greek god, manly dude. So that was the thing that kind of snapped me out of my stop feeling sorry for yourself mentality and follow your goals. Like, you say you want to be that guy, go be that guy. And so, which is also the I would say the power of emancipating myself into, be him. And
I
so,
was just going to say, I could see how that would lead up to why you chose the name you chose.
yeah. And so, I linked up with my coach through one of my good friends from college around that time. And basically, I just told him what my goals were. And he's like, well, the first thing we have to do is we got to trim this fat off to see what you really look like. So we did a year of just cutting and shredding, and I lost, I think 60 pounds or so. And I did not look like a bodybuilder at all. But I'm like, I got to start somewhere. So my first time stepping on stage was Palmetto Classic 2022. One true novice and then got fourth and open. And so I'm like, Okay, I got a one true novice. I'm in here, top five with these other guys, and I'm like, okay, trajectory is looking good. And then there was a series of just fourth places, and I knew I needed to make a change with how I was eating and my training, and so I switched coaches, and then next thing you know, like I'm top two and then winning overall. So long story short, that's kind of how it started to where it is now. And so I'm 5 weeks out from my next show this 2026 season, and I'm excited about the improvements that I've made. So I'm looking forward to getting rolling this year.
There we go. And how old are you?
I am 42.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
started when you were that would have been what, like 36?
36. Yeah.
Okay.
36, 37. Yeah.
Nice. So men's physique. Um, what do you what do you do outside of, when you're not bodybuilding? Obviously,
Mhm.
you got your son, but what is Ty doing when he's not in the gym?
Yeah, so professionally, I am. So I went to grad school at USC, Fight On Trojans. I got my master's in global supply chain management. So my career has been based around procurement operations, supply chain management, and so that's my primary thing that I do as far as professionally. For fun, I'm here in the Bay Area in California, so I'm like always trying to find a cool hike. There's plenty of walks, different neighborhoods to explore, so there's always just fun stuff to do. And I feel like I don't get enough sunlight because I'm in at work or I'm in the gym all the time. So,
Right.
and then also just finding some cool things to do with my son. He loves to hop around on the scooter and ride around everywhere, explore every playground. So that is probably more of like the professional and personal side. And then as far as just like I would say business, how Be Him, and we can go into detail here, but how Be Him and the actual apparel started was my background is really strong in supply chain and procurement operations. And so as I was
We need to
trying all
call
these
you to
different
fix this GH demand shortage, is what you're saying.
I might be able to help them out. Might be able to help them out. It's all about supply and demand and who's available to make it happen. So what happened with BM was like I tried all these different board shorts and I found good things and bad things about all of them, all the top brands. And I
Hmm.
was like, you know what? Let me try to design something that works for me. My legs were starting to develop. And so it was like either it was the waist was cool, the legs were too tight. And it was always the opposite of something. And so I found something that worked for me. And then my business side started to kick in where it's like, well, you know what, dude, you have a master's in supply chain management. Why can't you design something that you could make available to the masses? And so that's where I would say the business side of it came into play. But I had to make something that would work for everybody, not just me. So a lot
Right.
of research went into play, and you've been a part of it as well. So I'm glad to say at this point things have worked out pretty well. Just kind of putting the personal, business, and bodybuilding all together.
And that's what it's really all about, right? Is being able to find something that you love doing and then finding a way to make money doing it. That's what I tell
Hmm.
my boys that all the time. Like, we all know, unless you're one of the top Olympians, you're not making money from this sport directly from competing. You're making
Hmm.
money from either other avenues, marketing yourself, or creating something and being able to utilize some sort of skill but having it pertain to what you love doing.
Yeah.
And that's really whether it's coaching, whether it's, board shorts, apparel, supplements, like whatever it may be, finding something that allows you to still have that piece of, kind of both sides. Um,
Hmm.
in doing that, and I really love that. I love that you said that because excuse me, that's one of the main things that I love doing. Like outside of this, I do marketing, a lot of design work. um but what I really love about marketing and what kept me going was seeing a business go from nothing to something. And that's the same satisfaction and gratification that I get when I take a client who is either severely overweight and then whether they hit the stage or whether it's just more energy and they're moving better, but it's that same gratification and being able to blend those two things
Hmm.
is something that I love. So to hear you say that, you found a way to take what you're doing in business, but then also blend it with what you love in bodybuilding is great. And that's a true sign that, the brand, I have no doubt the brand is going to do well. And that's something, let's talk a
Thank
little
you.
bit more about that. So Be Him got started.
Mhm.
Right now, you got a handful of some pretty good athletes. Who right now is on the team? I know you guys just had some hitters compete this last weekend or last couple of weekends. So I'll let you kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So with our athletes, it was really more about just finding guys who exemplify the brand and what it stands for. Be humble, be inspired, be motivated. And so, and getting started, I wanted to connect with guys who kind of had the same mentality as me, but also were like, when it comes to competing, they got that dog in them. They really do. But they're very like respectful and humble about it. So, my first athlete was Jamal Hill.
Mhm.
He actually was the first to debut our board shorts at the LA Grand Prix. He has his signature shorts, the high tides. And so I was very happy. I drove down in the middle of the night to make sure I was there super early that morning. And so he did great. I think he placed fourth in this show right behind, I think it was right behind Dan Ibrahim. And then, so we also have Alexander Brown. He competed at Legions.
Uh-huh.
He's based out
Or
in Arizona.
those black and yellows, right? At
Yeah,
Legion.
he had the
Yep.
Hornets. Yeah, yeah. Yep. So so he debuted those, and then we have um Ontario or King Ontario Alexander, who is the newly um Masters Olympia qualified athlete.
Uh,
He won at Body B1 the Masters division there. So I was super proud of him. That was like congrats, my guy. And then Alton Craig, he was our newest athlete,
yep.
and he competed at St. Pete Pro this past weekend, and he did a fan. It was his pro debut. He did a fantastic
Oh, I
job.
didn't know that was his pro debut.
Actually, so he did a show last week, but this I would say that was probably more of like his warm up show.
His
This
warm
was
up.
more
Yeah.
like his pro debut. So
Yeah.
this was his first season
Still.
competing as a pro. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, those are the guys that we have right now. They have been wonderful athletes for the brand. They've been doing a lot of content, a lot of just promoting and just helping to get the brand out there. And then also they have the same mentality outside of I would say the bodybuilding world. They're just awesome men. They're
Mhm.
great dads, doing great in their careers, have hearts of gold, just willing to help and do anything. So it's just good to be connected with guys that have the same passion and drive, and very selfless. They will go above and beyond. If I ask them for the smallest thing, they're just like they're taking it over the top. So it's just
Yeah.
good to have guys like that on the team.
I love that. And from a marketing background, I always tell people buy culture. That's what they want. And I know it's not, I mean, I can clearly tell from you, it's not about the sales. Obviously, you're in business to be in business, but when you can tell that somebody is in it because they love it, the money will be there.
Mhm.
And culture drives business. I always say like you're a North, well, not really Northwest, but you're a West Coast guy. So I know you know Dutch Bros.
Oh yeah.
I think they're branching out kind of all over now. But you could literally put a Dutch Bros across from a Starbucks and they'll both be successful because somebody
Mhm.
will drive by a Starbucks looking for a Dutch Bros. And it's just that, and I know you've probably been to each one. Starbucks is kind of that uptight, more business kind of sit down and do your work, where Dutch Bros is like the fast pace, hey, how's it going? How's your day, man? Da da da. So
Mhm.
it's just kind of like they both offer the same product. Neither one of them are amazing products, but you go to one versus the other because of the culture that they represent. And I think
Absolutely.
that speaks a lot about the culture that not only is BHIM developing, the fact that it's based foundationally on, just authenticity. I think that speaks volumes. And that's one of those signs of a great business. So I love that. Where do you see the future of Be Him? Obviously, it would, I would think it would be to grow to the level of the Chulas, the manifests. Where is your vision over the next couple of years that you'd really like to take this brand?
No, that is a great question. And so, again, we know that this is our first year. We have to, marketing visibility, just to like make people aware that the board source actually exists. But then it's also beyond just that. We want people to know that this is a product that has top quality along with all the big brands. It's not, we have the culture that we're building with BHIM itself. But when you get this product, and you try it on, you get the look, the feel. It is right. top tier with everything else that anyone's worn. The difference is, I would say, is that our everybody has their unique cut.
Hmm.
Our cut and design of the shorts itself, it's very unique. And so,
Yes.
like you mentioned earlier, for the guys who have developed quads and still have that nice, like structured, tiny waist, you're going to get exactly what you're looking for. And when you step on stage, you're going to get that bold look, which is going to get the judges at least to give you the attention and all of the work that you put in. Those board shorts are going to take you where you need to be if you combine all those elements together. So this year, visibility, bring on some guys who again share that same passion. And then from there, I'm thinking next year. Oh, you know what? Quick plug, by the way. So we're also
Please.
sponsoring the Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic
Saw
November
that.
21st.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that was huge when I was able to connect with him. And so that's kind
When
of
is that date
our,
again?
I'm sorry,
What day is that again?
November 21st in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii.
Yep.
Yep. And so that will kind of catapult us into 2027, where we've had the exposure, and then we look to expand. Right now, we're looking to expand internationally as well to let athletes know, like, we know you got options over there, but for you guys who are truly like cranking out legs and you want a different style, and they see that be him on the back of your waistband, just know that that means more than those are more than just five letters. It's a mentality that comes with that. So next year and beyond, we're just looking to kind of grow and be right there in the top ranks. But we want people to know that we have a very solid quality product that when they try it on, they're going to love it. It's just a matter of taking the doubt out and trying something different. And when they do, I don't think they'll want to try anything else beyond that point.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that. I put a couple of my clients already in them, and they were using different shorts from the year prior. And as soon as they got it, that was the first thing they said was the fit, the quality, and the material was above and beyond.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm
Yeah, people
super
should
excited.
know. Oh, yeah, I was just going to say people should also know that there was about 8 months of research that went into that. So it wasn't like a fly-by-night thing. It was a very methodical process to make sure it was on point. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to just getting that brand out there and having more people try it, love it, and want to keep them in rotation for their upcoming shows.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very important. Even if you don't have the biggest legs, it's important to have a short that accentuates your legs because although the category that we compete in men's
Mm,
physique, legs are not necessarily scored. They are taken into consideration, which a lot of people need to realize because it 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 is a depiction of how the entire physique is presented. And
mm,
if you have shorts that do not fit you properly, whether they're too tight and too high and it's
mm.
too much leg, or they're too loose and too long and not enough, it takes away from the overall look. And that's what the judges are really looking for now. As the category starts to kind of settle in, it feels like they finally have a grasp, and it changes over time, as does every, category. But it feels like right now we're in a good time in men's physique where, as an athlete, you kind of know what they're looking for. Wide shoulders, small waist, decent quads, but enough that you're going to be presenting almost, an X frame. And I was at to give context, I was at a show this last weekend, and the judges' feedback for one of the men's physique competitors was literally put different shorts on. He had very narrow legs, and the shorts were very tight. And he said it
Oh,
gave you a very wide upper body and then just straight down. He goes,
mm,
if you had shorts that were just a little bit looser, it would give the illusion of having a wider leg, which would present that X frame that we're looking for. Lo and behold, switch. So it was a 2 day show. They had the open on Saturday, and then they had the natural on Sunday. He was completely
mm.
natural. He competed in both. Lo and behold, put different shorts on, won the whole show on Sunday.
Wow.
And there were some hitters. There were some hitters Sunday. Like sometimes you go to a natural show, you're like, eh. But no, there were some hitters, and he showed out, and the shorts made a huge difference. So I'm telling everybody watching this right now, whether you are a seasoned physique competitor, whether you are a pro level amateur or just getting started, we hit two shots. So you have to make sure that not only are your two shots on point, the shorts that you pick out need to be on point. When I did my pro debut in April, I bought a pair. It's funny enough, the shorts that I bought were the shorts that he wore. It was before I found you guys. Um, but I bought the shorts, I put them on. I was like, oh no, no, no. Like I can't even wear these. Like immediately they look great. And then I put them on. They did not look great on me. I went through probably two other pairs of shorts until I found a pair. I was like, cool, these are it. Then after, of course, I run into you guys. I'm like, hey, I need to buy a pair. I need to try them. As soon as I put them on, I sent them to a buddy of mine that real close friend, fellow pro, and he was like, what shorts are those? And I told him, he's like, man, buy more. Those fit you well. I said, yes, they do. So needless to say, I'm a believer. And it's even the client that I had compete in this show this last weekend, that had a pair of shorts from you guys. He doesn't have the biggest legs, but the shorts fit him perfectly. So uh with all that being said, amazing job. I can't wait to see what you guys do moving forward. I want to talk a little bit about you competing coming up. So you've done a few shows. What is the plan after this show? You shutting it down? Are we making a run for our pro card? What are we doing?
Man, that's a loaded one. So I would say leading up to this year. So last year when I did my show and won my first overall back in September, I was planning to do a pro qualifier maybe 2 months after that, and my coach was like, "Nah, I think we've seen what we need to do. Let's go ahead and shut it down. You need to grow your back. You need to grow, your arms a little bit more, and we need a tighter core because I think you have gut issues." And so we kind of worked on cleaning all that up. Definitely been a lot of back development, like some extreme back development. I can't wait to post before and after pictures. And so now that we've gone through all that, my first show, so I'm 5.5 weeks out now. My first show will be the Atlanta Classic on August 8th. And then that'll be kind of my, warm up show just to like, let's get back in there and let's see how we do with this prep. And then 2 weeks later, August 22nd, I'll be jumping into the Santa Cruz Classic. So here in California, I'm really looking forward to that one. That's kind of like, I feel like that one will be like my new body coming out party. So I'm looking forward to just displaying all the hard work that I've put in to my prep over the past year. And then if my coach agrees, I'll do maybe 2 or 3 more shows. And then I'm thinking maybe a pro qualifier early spring. But I do right now what I'm doing is like I call it my revenge tour. So like
Uh-huh.
all the shows or cities where I might have placed like fifth, fourth place over the past 3 or 4 years. Like my goal before I go, which is why I'm holding out on purpose. My
Yeah.
goal is to go back, win those overall shows, like check the box, and then go back and do a pro qualifier. But it's like mentally, if I went pro, I mean, not to say that, I'm pro ready now, but if I went pro and I didn't do that, I'll never get a chance to go back and do that again. So,
So it's funny you say that. When I took about a year and a half off from the time that I took my first shot at my pro card, I came
mhm,
in third. Top two at USA's get their card. I came in third out of a class of 23.
it's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it was right there. So I took some time off and then I did exactly what you said. I needed to requalify because it had been past a year. So
Hmm.
I went back and did the one show up in Seattle that I have only ever placed outside of the top four, maybe. Um, and I got that overall. And then I went on to go get my pro card because I thought the exact same thing. I was like, if I don't do it now, that's gonna always hang. It was my worst showing. My coach had ran me, old coach had ran me into the ground. I remember waking up that morning, looking in the mirror and being like, why am I even here? Like,
Mm,
you want to wake up and feel confident. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, I didn't even want to do the show. I wanted to just go home. And
man.
to come back and win it, it's such a satisfying feeling. So I hope that that all goes as planned for you. I will say, if you're planning on doing more shows, September 19th is the Sasquatch Pro-Am up in Seattle. I'll be
Yep.
doing that one the week after I do Battle of the Bodies in Fort Lauderdale, September 12th. So if you're feeling like heading up north a little bit, I would love to do that show with you. I mean, granted, we'll be in different classes, but you know, uh, Just throwing it out there.
No, it's
Uh,
funny you mentioned that. I saw the promo for it earlier, and I have my calendar where I track my weight and food, and then
mhm.
right beside it I have my show calendar just so I know where the athletes like where they're competing and then where I'm competing. And so I added that one to my calendar today.
There you
So
go.
I have San Antonio um, September 12th, and then if my coach is cool with it, I'm going to try to do the one in Seattle. So I'm looking forward
Yes.
to it.
Let me know if you do. I would love to meet up with you and then obviously, see you at the show. I might have to hit you guys up for some purple shorts for that one. I mean, it's the show's purple. My two favorite colors are the bright green and the purple. So we might have to see if we could get something made for that. But no, that'd be awesome. Let me know if you end up doing that. Let's talk training for a little bit. What was your training like when you first started versus how it started now? I know you said you came from an athletic background. I did the same. I played college baseball. So for me, even I remember doing like my first 2 seasons of bodybuilding. I was training like an athlete. I was, battle ropes and sled pushes and box jumps and, all of the three main compounds, bench squat, deadlift.
Mm.
And then that was really about it. I didn't like it wasn't until probably 2, 3 years in when I've really learned like how to train and develop, I should say, how to train to develop the body. It wasn't until then. So how was your training kind of transitioned over the last couple of years as you've gotten
Oof.
deeper into competing?
Yeah, so when I first started, and it's just more of a style of the different coaching. So when I first started, it was more about let's get the weight off and let's just see where you are. And then after like the first year or two, we kind of stuck with like the hypertrophy, 4 sets of 12.
Hmm.
And that was like that was kind of my typical program. And it was cool as far as keeping the muscles like nice and tight, but as far as growth, it wasn't really happening for my body. It may work for some guys, but for where I was at the time, I was around like 180, my stage weight, 185. It was pretty low, and I just could not like pack on the weight. And so when I switched coaches, the style completely like shook my body. Like I think it probably took me at least 2 months to get used to his training program. So my current coach, he's more into like we need to add size. We're going to do progressive overload. We need to get the strength, and we need you to like push. And here's the thing. So he didn't give me any specific weights. He was more like, I want you to just push yourself until you feel uncomfortable. And it just so happens that I was working out. There was a guy I'd never met this guy before in my life, but I could tell he was probably a competitor. And so I worked out with him at the gym that day. We didn't even talk that much. But he basically told me before we started training, he's like, look, I'm a pro. And this is where I was like, man, they're different. He's like, look, I'm a pro, so I'm going to push you to be uncomfortable. If you're going to train with me, don't complain. But if you want to be a competitive pro, you need to train like a maniac. And I
Hmm.
was like, what does he mean by that? And so this was the first time I think I had trained doing progressive overload training, where I literally thought I might snap a bone or I might tear a muscle. And then I was like, do they train like this all the time? Because I wasn't used to it. And so within the next couple of months, I only trained like that. And
Hmm.
so I started to notice a significant difference with like the way my muscles were starting to form. The weight was starting to, well, the muscle tissue was starting to pack on a little bit better. And so I was like, you know what? My coach was on to something. I need to stop trying to take it easy on myself. Like, of course, don't hurt yourself,
Right.
stretch, drink water, do all the things to prepare the muscle. But if you want to really grow, you have to push yourself to some very uncomfortable places. There was one workout where we had to basically it's kind of like a drop set, and he's like, do it until you feel like you want to slap somebody. And that's literally like I have nothing else to give. Like if it's a lateral row, I have completely burned out, nothing else to give. And
Hmm.
so I train like that all the time now, and it's made a world of difference. And so, you know, that's I'm not saying that it probably wouldn't have happened when I first started, but I'm glad that I went through that transition to at least prepare my muscles to like to grow or at least be primed for it. And now with progressive overload, like anyone who's trying to get bigger, that's probably the best way to go, along with the great diet and all the good things that come along with it. But that's what works for me.
100%. And it's funny that you touched on something that I remember I've heard Fuad say it on his podcast one
Mm.
time. but it was also something when a close friend of mine, Neil, he's passed away a couple years ago, right around COVID, but he was one of the first pros that I trained with and would train often with. And I remember, so Fuad said, if you train with a pro one time, you probably won't think it's that difficult. He goes, but you train with a pro for a week or two, and
Mm,
every day is that same intensity, and it gets to a point where most people fall off. And I
hmm
remember training with Neil, and this was when he'd lived in Port, he lived about an hour away from me. So I would make a trip up there, maybe once a month we train. I'd be like, all right, that was like it was cool. Like I didn't see the allure of like I don't think he's doing anything different than I am. Then he moved closer and we started training more frequently
hmm
and kind of became like a training partner, so to speak. And I will never forget, I trained with him 5 days in a row, and by the fourth day, I was like, "Oh, we got to do this again."
Oh yeah. It's a
And,
rinse
and,
and
and
repeat.
that's when it clicked. I was like, "That is what separates that level."
Mm,
And it's in every now that I understand now. It's that consistency. It's the consistency in food. It's the consistency in training. It's the consistency in sleep. It's the consistency in recovery. As a pro athlete, you do not miss. And I tell
mm,
all of my athletes that want to get to that level, if you want to get to that level, start acting like it now. You can't get to the next level. Obviously, genetics help. We know that, but genetics are more than just how the muscle's shaped. It's how you process food. It's how you process supplements. It's how you process, how well your body recovers. But aside from that, it's the consistency in the things that you do. And that's really what separates. A lot of people will slack on their recovery, or, there's something where it needs to be brought up. And unless you're just an elite level person who's probably could train however they want to do, and do the things, it requires consistency across the board. And in training is one of them. And one of the things that my coach did that kind of woke me up was while I was doing progressive overload and I was training 5 or 6 days a week. I thought I
mm.
was training hard. And he said, we're going to pull you back to 4 days a week. Like 4 days, what the hell am I going to do in 4 days a week? And so week one goes by and I message him. I'm like, hey, can I get in for like a fifth day? And I will never forget his response. He messaged me back and said, do you want to be in the gym to be in the gym, or do you want to be in the gym to get better? And I was like, shit.
Hey, that
All
was
right,
a deep one right there. Yeah.
right? I was like, all right, never mind. That made me realize I'm not training as hard as I think I need to train. So to this day, it's been probably 4 or 5 years. I've been rocking with him. He helped turn me pro. We have grown a lot. My very first show, I think I stepped on stage at 172 pounds. When I got my pro card, right? When I got my pro card, I was 204. But even just to shorten that time frame, when I stepped on stage at USA's the year prior to that, I was 197, 198. USA's, I was about 202. And then when I got my pro card, I was 204, completely different look,
Mm,
arguably leaner than I was at the 202 look. But what I learned training for 4 days is if you only have 4 days to train, you make every single one of those days count. So what I found was Monday, go in and hit it hard. Tuesday, go in by Tuesday, when I leave the gym, I can't wait to have my off day on Wednesday. And then the good thing is Wednesday, I'm like, damn, I can't wait to get back into the gym. So
hmm
Thursday, Friday, then I have Saturday, Sunday off, and it's the same thing. And I'm not saying everybody needs to drop down to 4 days a week. I do think everybody should for a short period of time because it will show you what true intensity is. Because if you know you have 5 or 6 days, I feel like mentally you can leave things, I'll get to that tomorrow. Well, if
mm.
tomorrow is not going to happen, then you need to train like that. But to your point, I love that progressive overload style and understanding what real intensity is really does make a difference.
Yeah, one point that you mentioned, I want to make sure for the people listening, they really understand this part because I didn't take it as serious the first maybe two, I'm going to say first 3 years. The recovery piece. We work out extremely hard to get these physiques, and you know, everybody has different things going on with their life, but when it comes to recovery and sleep, that plays just as big a role as it does when you're in there destroying your muscles. Like their recovery, if you're not getting the proper, well, taking the proper, supplements and getting the proper amount of sleep, your body is not going to maximize itself to its full potential. And so, I just wanted to make sure I threw that out there that sleep is just as important as the workout. And so now that
Hmm.
I'm kind of in a different phase of my own bodybuilding career, I definitely try to prioritize at least like minimum 7 hours. I wish I could do more, but
Hmm.
life is life and sometimes. And so I try to at least get seven. And if I can even squeeze in a nap at some point throughout the day, I'll do that.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm the same. I'm about 6.5 just based on my schedule, but same thing. I
Mhm.
try to get a nap in. Weekends I can usually get about 7. But it makes a very, very significant difference. And most people don't realize the catalyst, the signal to get stronger is being in the gym. You physically get stronger outside of the gym when you're resting, when you're eating. All of those recovery things are what is actually building the physique. The breakdown in the gym is just sending that signal. So, like you said, and to your point, it's just as important, if not slightly more important, to prioritize proper recovery. I love that. Um, awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but last thing before we go, what is something that you, what is something that you can say bodybuilding has helped you with um, off the stage? What
Man,
what have you found? And it could be multiple things, but what have you found that throughout the last several years, 5, 6 years that you've been doing this, how have you found that bodybuilding has intertwined its way into your life and made it better?
I think two was probably more, but there's two main things that have been consistent, regardless of if it's bodybuilding, work, like personal life, consistency. Whether it is if I have a project that I'm doing at work, like you want to make sure you're like you want to make sure you're always making progress, even if it's little milestones. But just that discipline to stay locked in and be consistent with whatever you're doing. Um, don't drop the ball. Same thing, whether it's if you're in the gym and you got a show coming up every week, every day counts. So the consistency mindset is always probably probably more of anything, just showing up and getting the job done. And then I kind of already said it already, but discipline,
Hmm.
um, having structure, having a schedule, and actually following through on those things. We are, well, I'm just going to say as competitors we have our whether we're dads, businessmen, whatever the case, there's only 24 hours in the day. And so throughout that 24 hours, you have to maximize every bit of it to make sure you're being the best worker, you're being the best dad, you're being the best bodybuilder, doing errands and getting all those things done. But if you drop the ball again on any of those things, you don't have structure in your life, something's going to fall apart. And so if you're not doing the right thing, having the right mentality to have some wiggle room when you need to. You don't want to be like a robot, but at least having some structure to make sure you're taking care of all of your key priorities. Those are the things, those two things I would say have probably been the levelers to keep my balance in life and still be able to do something that I love that I'm not, we don't do bodybuilding to be rich. Well, most of us don't.
Right.
It's a passion. And so me having those two things, consistency and discipline, allows me to still factor that part, a major part in my life, and still be able to do all the great things with my friends, family, travel, vacation, and still have a great career on the side. So, but without bodybuilding, I think my schedule will probably be a lot more loose and flexible, and things probably wouldn't be as I would say progressive in getting things done. Even with starting a business, I probably would have been like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, no, have a be disciplined, have a schedule. You say you're going to post something, you're going to create something, do it. Follow through on what you say. So consistency and discipline definitely have carried my way through over the past 3 years specifically.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely have to get back and have you on again. No doubt about that. This was kind of a quick impromptu. We were chatting the other day, and I was like, I got to get the podcast. To your point, I was like, I need to get the podcast back up and running. I want you to be my first guest. I'll be honest, I didn't even have any questions laid out. I just wanted it to be as organic as possible. There's still stuff laying around. I'm getting the office set up, but I said I want to have you on. Let's shoot for a day. We'll make it happen. So we'll get you back on. I hope, and I know we'll be in touch, but I hope that I'm able to see you at some show. If not, I got family in the Bay Area, Santa Rosa, so I'm out near that direction pretty frequently. We'll definitely have to get together and chop it
We'll
up.
make it happen for sure.
But let the people know, how can they find you or your brand. Give us all the plugs because the shorts are amazing. I Let us know.
Oh yeah. So the board shorts, I mean, you could find them. Bhimapparel.com. We have our shop set up. We always have our latest drops available. So board shorts along with I have on one of our t-shirts. So t-shirts, we have three different colors as well as hoodies. But the board shorts for sure, go check them out. Find something that works for your skin tone, well, the quality, the structure. You're going to look great in them. I promise you. You try them, you're going to love the quality and the look, the feel. They're top tier.
Code DGRO, save some money.
Yep, there we go. DGRO, save some money, get your discount there. We also have our Instagram page at bhim_apparel. You'll see all of our latest promo content there. We're pretty active, so we always got some cool things going there. And then for me personally, I'm Ty_the Titan on Instagram. So feel free to hit me up, shoot a message. Let's chop it up, connect. Um, Devin, definitely appreciate you for bringing me on, man. This was awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing where the platform goes from this point. You definitely have a voice of the pros now, so I'm looking forward to seeing the evolution.
For sure. Yeah. And we're going to keep it growing. So thank you again. That does it for another episode of Beyond the Bar, and we will catch you guys next time.